Britain's highest court ruled Tuesday that Prime Minister Boris Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament for 5 weeks in the crucial countdown to the country's Brexit deadline was illegal. Supreme Court President Brenda Hale said the suspension was unlawful because it had the effect of frustrating or preventing the ability of Parliament to carry out its constitutional functions without reasonable justification, end quote. The decision immediately prompted calls for Johnson to quit. House of Commons Speaker John Bercow said in a written statement that the ruling vindicated the right and duty of Parliament to meet at this crucial time to scrutinize the executive and hold ministers to account. Johnson, who is in New York for the UN General Assembly, has refused to say whether he will resign. Joining us to analyze all of this is Director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom at the Heritage Foundation, Nile Gardiner. Nile, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you back. Now, Johnson has claimed that he shut down Parliament to prepare for this new session. He was given a green light by Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, and the Supreme Court claims the suspension of Parliament was unlawful, but did not rule on Johnson's motives. However, many in the UK are saying his motive was a contempt of democracy, an abuse of power. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that Boris Johnson's motive really is to deliver democracy. I mean, he's 100% committed to delivering the Brexit referendum result from 2016, which is the will of the British people. Prorogation or suspension of Parliament, as is known, is not unusual in British politics. It happens every single year. In this case, perhaps the prorogation was longer than typical, but this is perfectly normal parliamentary procedure. Multiple governments have used this, and I have to say that the Supreme Court decision here is being widely attacked by Brexiteers as an intervention by the Supreme Court in parliamentary affairs and procedure. Highly unusual, actually, and there's no precedent for this at all. And so Johnson has accepted the ruling, but he is saying that it's another example of those who are trying to stop Brexit from happening, basically acting in this case. And so he is calling for Parliament here to respect the will of the British people and move forward with Brexit on October the 31st. And Boris Johnson isn't going to be resigning. He isn't going to be going anywhere. He's going to be staying as Prime Minister.
There are all those calls for his resigning, and even I was stunned. I was watching the BBC, and there was Nigel Farage saying that Boris should at least offer his resignation to the Parliament, not leave, but offer the resignation, really out of respect to the body. Your thoughts?
Well, I think Boris Johnson should stay where he is and continue to lead the British country, the British people. He is a man who I think is firmly committed to delivering democracy, which is what the Brexit vote was all about. 17.4 million Britons voted to leave the European Union in 2016. Johnson is fully committed to doing so. Unfortunately, the Remainers in Parliament are doing everything they possibly can to try and block Brexit. And as the Attorney General was saying today, in his view, he said the current Parliament is dead. It simply doesn't respect the democratic will of the British people.
What do you make? The timeline isn't moving, as you said a moment ago. October 31st is the day.
Yes.
Will he find the support he needs in this, what you just said is a dead Parliament? The fact is they may be dead, but they're still holding their seats.
Yeah, that's true. And so Johnson has a couple of options here. Firstly, he's trying to get a deal with the European Union, an EU withdrawal agreement that will be acceptable to Parliament. That's going to be very, very difficult, of course, for the Prime Minister to get, not least because the majority of Parliament at the moment is against Brexit. The second option, of course, is to go around the demand of Parliament requesting an extension to Article 50 of the European Union Treaty. Johnson has said he's not going to agree to that extension. He has said he's going to deliver Brexit on October 31st. I think he's absolutely right to promise to deliver Brexit on October 31st because Parliament here is not fulfilling the wishes of the British people. And that's the role of Parliament, to implement the democratic will of the British people. They're simply not doing that. Johnson is saying he's going to move forward with Brexit on October 31st, which is the legal default position. Now,